What if some towns aren't just struggling, but are truly broken beyond repair? Not just old, but caught in a silent freeze frame of their past glory? In central Pennsylvania, forgotten coal communities still dot the landscape. Their silent streets tell a hard truth. Some wounds cut so deep, they never truly heal. You see, back in the day, Pennsylvania ran on coal. And when the demand for it exploded, it was basically a gold rush. Hundreds of new towns popped up almost overnight, built from the ground up by the coal companies. They had everything you could need: schools, stores, churches, even places for fun. The company built a whole world for their workers, right there in the middle of nowhere. But here's the thing, your life belonged to the company. Many workers were paid in special money called scrip that they could only spend at the company store. So when the coal industry started to fail, these towns had nothing to fall back on. The mines closed, and the communities just withered. As one man who grew up there said, "It's like the town's heartbeat slows down until it finally stops." Today, the young people have all left, leaving behind empty, crumbling houses. Some of these places are so far gone, they've been completely wiped off the map. Just stone foundations hidden in the woods, a quiet reminder of what used to be. It wasn't enough to just own the mine. The coal companies wanted to own your entire life. To get the coal, they had to bring in an army of workers. But these mines were in the middle of nowhere, so the companies had to build entire communities from the ground up. These settlements were called coal camps, or patches, and they popped up fast. Take the town of Nemacolin, for example. It was built in 1917 by a massive steel company to be a model community. And on the surface, it was. The company built duplex houses, installed sewers and power lines, and even added an elementary school and churches. They didn't stop there. They built a 550-seat movie theater, a bowling alley, and baseball fields. It was a complete, ready-made world. But here's the catch. It was their world. One writer who studied the town noted that company police would give you trouble if you didn't keep your lawn trimmed. After all, the company owned the house you lived in, so they made the rules. And this wasn't just a few isolated towns. It was a system. By the 1920s, a government study found that about half of all coal miners in Pennsylvania lived in a company town. That's an incredible number. One researcher mapped out these communities and found 260 of them in just 4 counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. And powerful steel magnates like Henry Clay Frick ran 72 different operations in a single county alone. This was total control. The company paid you, but that money often went right back into their pockets at the company store. It was a closed loop designed to keep you dependent. They built a world where you could never truly get ahead, never build your own wealth. So when the companies decided to leave, they didn't just take the jobs. They took the entire town with them. Because, from the very beginning, they had owned it all. For a long time, Pennsylvania coal was the engine that built America. It was the coal that was baked into coke, that was used to make the steel, that built the skyscrapers and bridges all across the country. But the cracks in this kingdom started showing a lot earlier than you might think. Some coal towns were already turning into ghost towns by the early 1900s, with nothing left but stone foundations in the woods. For most places, it was a slow, painful decline that lasted for decades. Take the Buckeye Mine, a huge operation in Greene County. In 1946, it employed nearly 1,300 people. By the early 60s, its production was cut in half. It finally shut down for good in 1987. So what happened? It wasn't just one thing. It was a perfect storm. First, the companies brought in more machines to do the work. So even when they were digging up tons of coal, they needed fewer and fewer people to do it. Then, their biggest customer, the American steel industry, started to struggle against competition from other countries. Less steel meant less demand for coal. On top of that, new rules about pollution made burning coal a lot more expensive. Power plants had a choice: spend a fortune on upgrades, or just shut down. Many chose to shut down, but the real knockout punch came from right underneath their feet. Natural gas. Drillers discovered a massive, cheap supply right there in Pennsylvania's Marcellus Shale. It was cleaner, and you didn't need a huge army of miners to get it out of the ground. The change was brutally fast. In 2005, coal generated half of all electricity in the United States. Less than 10 years later, that number had plummeted to just over a third. Natural gas took its place. Coal companies started going bankrupt. The ones that survived saw the writing on the wall and switched over to gas. By 2015, coal mining accounted for less than 0.1% of all jobs in Pennsylvania. For the towns, it was a death sentence. A union leader who grew up in the coal town of Nemacolin said that when a mine shuts down, it's like the town's heartbeat slows down until it just stops. The life just drains out of the place. And what's left behind? Widespread unemployment, crushing debt, and homes that are suddenly worthless. The companies had built a world that couldn't survive without them. And then they simply walked away. So what does it look like when a company just walks away? It looks like 260 different company towns, scattered across just 4 counties in southwestern Pennsylvania. 260. Many of them are just names on an old map now. Scars on the landscape. For a place like Nemacolin in Greene County, it's a slow, visible decay. Decades after the Buckeye mine closed, the town's elementary school burned down in a suspected arson. The local store is gone. The community swimming pool? It was filled in with dirt. You can see rows of duplex houses, once cared for by the company, now sitting empty. Roofs are caving in, walls are covered in graffiti. They're just waiting to collapse. A retired miner who grew up there, Paul Kierenkak, put it simply, this was a beautiful place to grow up. Now, there's nothing here. And looming over what's left of the town is a constant, physical reminder of the past. The old Buckeye mine waste dump. It's a literal mountain of industrial sludge, slowly eroding, and even causing occasional spontaneous explosions. A toxic monument to a dead industry, right next to where people still live. But some towns didn't just decay. They completely vanished. Out in central Pennsylvania, places like Roche Gap or Cold Springs were once buzzing with thousands of people. Today, if you know where to look, you can find them deep in the woods. There are no buildings left, no streets. Just old stone foundations, swallowed up by the forest. The very rail lines that were built to haul coal out of these remote valleys have been turned into hiking trails. Now, you can walk for miles along these quiet paths, tracing the ghosts of an entire world that was built, used up, and then completely erased from the map. The jobs disappear, so the young people leave. Anyone with skills or an education has to go somewhere else to build a life. This creates a brain drain. The population that's left gets older. Tax money dries up. And with no money coming in, the roads, the buildings, the water pipes, everything starts to crumble. There's just no one left to fix it. Take Nemacolin. We saw the physical ruins earlier. But the economic reality is even worse. After the Buckeye mine shut its doors for good in 1987, it left a giant hole in the community. Nearly 1 in 5 people in Nemacolin lives below the poverty line. They're rented out for dirt cheap,